All right, guys, we're back with a brand new Upwork video. Today, we're going to be talking about jobs to avoid at all costs. Listen, I think we've all made mistakes of applying to jobs that we kind of regret a little bit later. That's part of your Upwork journey. And
Yep.
today, we're going to talk about some of the red flags involved with them. So that way, you don't get these bad jobs and you save your job success score. With that out of the way, though, give you guys a little bit of context background if you are brand new here. I've been documenting my Upwork journey here on this YouTube channel. I'm 4 months into it right now. I've cleared $20,000. We have Matt over here. Matt, how about you tell them how much you've done on Upwork?
I think the platform says 200.
Yeah, so we'll be going through an example listing that Matt found, which has a ton of red flags. And I think maybe the approach in this video is we start with that listing and then we kind of expand off of that because there's definitely some other issues outside this listing that we both could kind of address. Also,
Yeah.
if you are new here and you have any Upwork videos you want to see us make, just let us know down below as well. And we do a monthly Q&A here probably every other month on the channel too. So any other questions, we can address that. Actually, we're probably going to record that next week. So with that out of the way, Matt, how about you share your screen
Yep.
and we put this on over here?
Yeah, we will start with this one. As you know, I don't know these people. I didn't apply to this job. I don't know who these people are. I just saw it come through, and it was definitely a job that, for a couple of reasons, I would want to avoid. Can you see that? It should be good.
Yeah,
Cool.
here we go.
And so there are actually some things about this job that I would consider green flags, but the red flags go over the green flags. One of the things you'll see when we kind of talk about this is you'll have like different criterias for what you're looking at, but some of them are more important than others. It's never no job is usually ever going to be perfect. And no job is usually going to be incredibly awful. Most of them are going to be kind of in the middle, and you want to figure out what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with based on those things. So, the first red flag out of the gate is look, if a job is telling you this is high pressure out of the box, um, you know, they should be paying you a lot of money. I've taken some of these jobs before that are, more intense. And you can kind of make that decision for yourself if it's worth it to you or not. I mean, they even mention, work on weekends if needed. Like if they're telling you in the job that you're going to be working weekends, I wouldn't recommend this. I think they mentioned it down here as well somewhere. Yeah, tight deadlines, weekends. If they're telling you that stuff out of the gate, the management side of this job, management side being the customer, is probably not very good. Especially all things considered, this job has a fixed price of $700. If you read through this, you are building a multi-agent system. $700 is pretty terrible for that. I mean, that was why I was curious to see what this job looked like when I saw it pop up.
And does it say,
$700
and just out of curiosity, does it say $700 is for the first week, first milestone, or is it saying for that entire project? And for those that are watching the video, because we are going to get people that watch this outside of data or outside of automations, a multi-agent system like the one described over here, what typically would be the hours associated with this, or what would be the cost of a project?
Well, and so the other thing, that is bad about this job is there isn't a lot of information about, is this like an MVP? Is this production? Is this weekly? Is this the full price? There's no info about that. So you might be completely wasting your time applying to it. I mean, if you are building an MVP for something like this, I mean, under 100 hours to me would be pretty wild, especially if we're talking about something that's like pretty good. I mean, they're talking about building like AI avatars and stuff. Like this is not $700, like nowhere near. This is like $700 a day for us. Like this is not
And there's a lot of
people,
knowledge there too, right? Just looking at what they expect out of the gate.
they're talking about thinking like a builder, not just a contractor. You're getting paid $700. Like, I'm gonna think however the fuck I want. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I mean, it's just not a good situation in general. And here's the other problem. So you can see what people are bidding on, like what the range is. There's people that are bidding on this
At $10.
I mean, this is not be remotely considering. Like, honest to God, like if this thing said like fixed price of like 15 grand and it was as vague as it is, I probably still wouldn't apply because I just don't know. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I just don't know what this is going to be. This job has things that I would generally consider green flags. They've got some money spent on the platform. They're in the States.
They have a good hire rate too. Look at that.
Hire rate's fine. Average hourly paid rate is not that bad because you got to think like this is across everybody.
VAs and all that.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. They have good rating too. So, the other stuff are all things that I would consider green flags. But this is you telling me this is high pressure and to think like a builder for $700 out of the gate. I would never recommend applying to something like this. Like this is a bad situation waiting to happen. Somebody who has a lot of jobs would look at this and be like, this is too low pay. Somebody who's brand new, this is too risky that you're going to get a bad rating, out of the gate and start your profile with a bad score. Like this is too risky of a job to be taking. Even if you think you could have this done in $700, it just is too risky for me to want to take on with a customer that thinks like this.
And I'm curious, like, take a look at the reviews on this one. That's another thing that you would want to take a look at beyond just the star rating.
Yeah, the reviews are fine. What I would look for is, do they give out poor scores often? Because at some point, not every freelancer is bad. Like at some point, like you just give out scores that are too hard.
And there's some freelancers, or I should say customers out there, even if you do a fantastic job, they're not going to leave a review.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like,
you can see this down here with customers. Like if they're constantly giving like 3 stars, 4 stars, like I would avoid that because it's just never going to be enough. And they have, I don't know what the hell this is. Like, I'm not touching.
That kind of scares me though, because it's weird. There's a 5-star review, but then it says the customer is fraud, but then the freelancer no feedback given. So
no idea what these people are talking about. I don't know. This is just one that I would not touch. I would not want to be interested in this. Honestly, it's kind of nice that at least they're telling you out of the gate what they think. So you kind of know right there before you get to the interview, like what this is going to be. That is one of the nice parts, but there's a reason this job only has
10 to 15
applications. There's a reason. A job like this without that stuff would be over 50, probably close to 100 applications.
Unless it's US only, which you will find on some.
It's not. I checked.
Yeah.
Because when we post something like this, I've shown you it before. We'll get 200, 250 applicants on it. So this is just, I would not touch this.
No. Some other things that we wanted to briefly talk about, kind of locations. One of the things that I look for is specific countries to work with. Obviously, being in the States, I want to have US customers. Like that's my highest priority. I'll typically take on stuff as well that are in the EU or Israel or Australia because I find they pay pretty well and they have really good communication on that side of things. I typically don't deviate outside of that. There might be some one-offs, but that's kind of my approach.
As you know, I never deviate outside of Canada, US, UK.
I forgot to say Canada. I haven't had a Canada client yet.
I've done it enough times that time zones are going to be weird. The work pressure is going to be higher. I know it works. I stick to those 3. I've seen jobs, it's rare, but jobs with other countries that are high hourly rates, I still don't touch them. I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends, right? If you have a
Yeah.
good cadence or not. And that's another thing, right? It's okay to reject a job once you start talking to a customer
Oh
in the
yeah.
early phase or something
Oh
like that,
yeah.
which is one of the reasons why you kind of want to have everyone jump on a call. Like,
Yep.
yeah, I understand you might be nervous for your first few or whatever the case is, right? Like, I'm an introvert. I still jump on these calls with people. Um, but at the end of the day, unless it's like a low paying job, which, will take 5 or 10 hours. If you think it's going to take more than 10 hours, jump on the phone with someone because you'll find out really fast if this is someone that you want to work with or if they have a lot of different red flags.
Yep.
Um,
And
and
and you should want, like, if you have any idea in your head of this job might be not the most enjoyable, it's if you're already thinking that,
don't do it.
then don't do it because it is going to be bad. If you're already thinking that out of the gate, it's going to be bad.
And as you mentioned, and I think I got this from you, like 99% sure. How many people have actually tried this job before in the past? Now,
Mhm.
that's not 100% something that's be always a red
Yes.
flag, but if they say, "Oh, we've tried 5 freelancers and none of them
Bad.
stick,"
Get
you're like,
away. Get away. Now what you might see, we see this a lot because most of the people that hire us is we worked with someone cheap and it went bad and now they want us to come in and fix it or redo it or whatever. Those are a little bit tricky because they might just be like they might just worked with a bad freelancer. Like that happens. And you can tell if you look at the code, you can tell almost immediately. Like, are they just working with was a bad customer? But if you don't hear too much, if you look at the code's kind of fine. Um, and they still said like it was bad or they worked with a couple people, you should have some alarm bells going off because now it's starting to sound a little bit like this customer is not that great. And then you'll want to evaluate like, is it worth it, right? Based on what they're paying, is it worth it or not? And then you can just make a decision on your own.
yeah. What are some of the other things that we briefly talked about beforehand?
Yeah, so if a job doesn't have an hourly rate assigned or a budget assigned, I would be a little bit cautious, especially if you're a freelancer who is more expensive, um, because they're just going to have a lot of people that apply that are just ridiculously cheap. And so you might just be wasting your time. Um, you might apply at like $90 an hour. They get people applying at like 15, you know. If the customer wants to work with people like that, then you just might be wasting your time. I've always found that no hourly rate assigned is a little bit of a red flag. They're probably not super serious either. They're posting a job just to get it out there, see what's there. That's one of the ones that, unless I just absolutely love the job, right? Like I said, there's like different levels of what you consider. Unless it's a job that I just absolutely love, I'm probably going to avoid it because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. You can see the average hourly rate of the applicants. If it's super low, I don't know. I just would find I don't want to waste my time. There's so many jobs out there.
And another thing to mention too, be wary of scams out there on Upwork, and maybe we'll make this into another video. Someone says like, "Oh, well, we need you to buy X or Y, or like pay to apply for this job, or well, you have to send us money first before we can send you." Like they're all red flags. Use common sense. Like
Yeah, use your head.
if you need to pay for someone's stuff, like I wouldn't do it. The only exception, because like we both work in data and coding, sometimes there's going to be costs associated with an API. Like let's say, for example, you're using a GPT model. Okay, well, it makes sense. Like initially, maybe you just use your key before you get the customer's key, and you can always build them at the end associated with that. Or like I do
Yep.
stuff with Appify and NAN workflows. Like, okay, cool. It's going to cost me $1, $2. Contracts a couple $100. It's not the end of the world. Like I'll
Yeah.
eat that cost. But if they're saying, hey, to apply to this job, you have to go to the survey site, pay $10, and then go through all this other stuff. Or hey, we don't have the software at the company. We actually need you to spend $100 for the SaaS every single month and then help us out. Like big red flags.
You're wasting your time. You're just I mean that kind of goes into like my point that we were talking about earlier where if they have ridiculous expectations of the amount of work something takes relative to the budget, they're going to try to convince you that the job is this budget. Don't do it. They're doing that to try to get you in, kind of get you committed to it. If you think this thing is going to cost 20 grand and they're telling you it's just a $3,000 job because it's just this and this and this, it's not. It's not. They're trying to convince you that that job is smaller so they can get you into it and kind of get you committed to it, and kind of stuck with it. I would just end the call. I'd tell them I just don't really think this is a fit.
Yep. Anything else you want to bring up? I think we covered a lot in this video that people can grab, like actual insights.
Yeah, I mean, let me see if I would avoid, like I said, a lot of the stuff where they don't put a budget, they don't have any money spent. I mean, there's so many jobs out there that are better. Like, why would you limit yourself to something that just isn't great?
I was going to say one other thing I've noticed kind of on some pretty bad jobs times, people are saying in there, I know what this costs. My price is fixed. And you'll see something that's like $5 an hour, $10 an hour for an advanced data skill, but I know what this should cost.
Let them have it.
Yep. So
just somebody else. That's a job for somebody else that fits with somebody else. Let them have it. There's so many jobs out there. You can pick and choose what you want, and what makes the most sense for you and where your profile's at, right? You should always have a good idea of where you are presenting yourself and what that level is. And there's no reason to go outside of that.
Absolutely. So anything else, or we'll call it for this Upwork video?
No, I think that's kind of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for checking out this video. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow my Upwork journey and check out some of the other videos that me and Matt have done together here on the channel, we have an Upwork playlist, probably anywhere from 10 to 20 videos. I'm going to be consistent every single month. I'll tell you guys, my mistakes, how far we've grown, different things like that, and full transparency on that side of things. And I'm taking on any end jobs, data jobs, primarily in that domain. But if you're in marketing or you're in something else or copywriting, right? Maybe watch them. You might pick up some things.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff just applies across the board. No matter what you're in, those sort of ideas of what jobs based on where you are and those parameters are generally going to be the same. I have a lot of friends that are in some of those other domains, and they feel the same with locations and job score and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of just general client relation stuff.
Yep. Anyways, catch you guys in another video. See ya.